He talks about a new era. A new era is beginning between the United States and China to such an extent that it has caused concern, but it has also generated. Look, just look. How do we know what effect it has on the real world of business and finance? In the end, it comes down to whether this takes hold or not, or whether it's false when it's false. We always quickly check how financial markets are moving because in the end, finance is confidence in the future. Hey, well, that doesn't matter to me because I don't invest. I don't invest in that either. They are indicators of the health of a country or of future finances. Not just for right now. I mean, financial matters, those investments people make. Let's see. Just imagine they sell you, for example, this little controller I have. They don't sell it here. And they tell you that 1,000 pesos for the controller. Wow, 1,000 pesos. That's really expensive. Or $100. Let's say $100 if we use dollars. What $100? Yeah, but this controller, well, it has the ability to, I don't know, it has artificial intelligence and you're going to connect your whole face. They sell you the controller like it's the best thing ever. They said they're discontinuing this controller for some reason. This controller will be worth $300 in the future. So you would pay for it because you trust that it's going to be worth more. You'd have to be absolutely confident because you're investing a lot of money. This is really expensive. The same thing happens with those investments that people make. They don't invest just to do something. Yes, they invest to make some money tomorrow and have a little bit of that money tomorrow. But most investors invest thinking about 10, 15, 20 years from now. So, when you invest in something that's at the highest price in its history, you say something positive. They're looking at this for the future. And that's what's interesting. That's the valuable part of knowing even just a little bit about finance. No, you're an investor because you focus on how things will be in the future. If there's distrust, if not, in reality, a lot of the news that's being reported is exactly the opposite of what's actually happening. I can prove it with financial data. That's why knowing about these things matters. So I could say it's not horrible, like many people right now who are out there spreading rumors. No. What's happening is that while BRICS is moving forward, people make things up. They're imagining things or just buying into certain narratives. But in reality, what you're going to see is who the heck is willing to invest $100 or $200 billion if they think that money is going to be worth half tomorrow. Nobody would do it. They think that money I put there today, tomorrow? No, tomorrow or in a few years, it'll be worth twice as much. That's why I put it there. Otherwise, I wouldn't. And I need to be completely sure. They have insider information. They have connections everywhere to make sure this is going to be worth more. Look at how the S&P 500 is right now. Just with that, we get an idea of how things are. That's the S&P 500 right now at its all-time high. Today it reached 4,500. Sorry, 7,500. That price has never existed in history. It's the first time in history that price has reached that level. These are the 500 most important companies in the United States. They're all there. All the ones you can think of. All the famous ones. And not just from the United States. We have to remember that Chinese companies are also there. I mean, when they say the companies there are from the United States, well, not all of them are American. Many of them are Chinese companies. Or they have very strong Chinese investment. So they say the 500 most important companies in the United States because they operate or have their operations, their headquarters in the United States and are registered so their shares can be bought and sold. They're public. I mean, you can, well, not you, but a person who lives in the United States, even if you're a foreigner, you can too. But there are certain rules. But let's say you have to be there, right? You can buy, well, through a fund, you can, but that's another topic. But you can buy shares. I mean, you can be a little bit of an owner of Apple, of all those brands, but also of Chinese brands that operate in the United States and have their own function. Well, when they go public over there. And so they can be there. Yes. I mean, for a foreign or American company to be there, you have to go through a series of reviews, legales, that the company is real, that it's not a fake, that it's not an American company there. And if they accept you, then you get in. So the ones that are there because of that. Yes, I mean, a foreign or American company, it's really hard. Why? Since the competition says, hey, wait a minute. That's how it is. They're cheating here. You have to go through a series of reviews. You can cheat. And I don't doubt that there are minor little cheats here and there. But in general, what foreign American company that for under the rules of companies and business, would it be like that in that sense? Or is it that I don't find it ethical? Well, possibly many of them aren't, but they're operating under certain rules of the United States. I mean, so the fact that the S&P 500 is at that point basically shows you that the new era has begun. I mean, honestly, I don't know if that's a good thing. Honestly, I'm not saying, oh, that's great for the United States or that's great for China. No, I don't know how. Anyone saying it's foreign or American is kidding themselves, right? There's no way to know if it's good or bad. Time will tell in 10 years or 15 years unless you have a crystal ball. What I can tell you is that it's a real new era, right? It's going to bring challenges. It's going to bring problems. It's also going to bring positive things. That's a reality. And above all, the most interesting part, and the one Putin doesn't like, is what this is going to bring. I mean, this is what the yin and yang is going to bring, let's say. But that's what it's going to bring for CH, foreign or American, which from Putin's position is the worst he's ever had in his history. By far. I mean, in the future, I don't want to get paranoid either. But I mean, watch out, strange things might happen. Suddenly things like that, ¿cómo le dicen? That suddenly something overwhelming happens. What I just said right now. Because if it happens, and is it related to Russia or America? Es porque es reviews. They didn't like this meeting. They're opposing this. I mean, because it's a new forces in the end that will operate and will reinforce themselves, that will solidify, and that other forces outside the world system are left out. I mean, if they wanted to create new systems, it's not that they won't exist. They can exist. I mean, Brexit can exist under the rules of the world system in general. Or you go, American foreign. I mean, one of the things that Brexit buys the most is dollars, by the way. And they just sell you the idea that it's anti-dollar or American marketing. In reality, where it's convenient for you is where you should be. Liquidity rounds provide more, whether it's a donation or not. It doesn't matter. A lot of people get fooled by that. You don't care about liquidity. If there's no liquidity, don't run away from there just because of a review. Currencies that suddenly drop and lack liquidity, they don't have money. They're not real, right? It's real. Whether it's a foreign or American company, the one from Peru has done very well. The Mexican one has done very well. By the way, because thanks to billions of dollars from investors all over the world, that has been an excellent option. And that isn't just recent. It's not just because of Morena. No, it's not just because of Morena. That's something that's been happening for decades. For decades investing. I mean, just look at friends who aren't from here, from Mexico. If you visit on vacation, ask your Uber or taxi driver to take you around the industrial areas of Querétaro. Well, from the center of Mexico, from Mexico City, from here in Monterrey, the industrial areas. And there you go. Miles and miles and miles. Whether it's foreign or American, just for inspection. Or companies, factories, and all kinds of production, right? So the industrial zones have expanded significantly. Right? That's also why, suddenly, hey, American water. Well, yes, because so much is being produced. So many reviews. It gives a lot of strength to the currencies. All of that is liquidity. It's like, how much can I invest here? I mean, how much can I move? You can move whatever you want, or you can move a significant amount of money, and it's going to be solid. I mean, it has already been gaining strength despite the crises. And this will look, I mean, the peso is currently at 17.22. It has been strong. And even though the dollar has strengthened a lot, whenever there are wars, and especially with oil, the dollar gets stronger. It goes up. Pues, well, the peso hasn't done badly. I mean, now that's something. For an American foreign company, that's one of the reviews. Because everyone wants to see it as if it's about a certain party. But no, that's not about parties. It's an issue that goes way beyond that. How productive are you really as a country? How much do you really produce and consume? It's back at 7,500 again. It reached that point. That's the new ceiling for the S&P 500, 7,500. Whether you like it or not. This is an American company from China, the United States. And honestly, I have to say, China is the one positioning itself as the solid country. Whether it's a foreign American company, reviews, yes, or for a foreign American company that does reviews, Europe, it ends up isolated. Look, I mean, the United States, but in the end, it's going to have to be with both, right? I mean, it's going to have to, well, it's just going to support whatever it is. No, it doesn't remain as a force. Besides, it's not like it can make a difference. No. China made a bet. I mean, well, Trump bet on China. And look at how he gets along with Europe. From now, American. Honestly, I think there's no worse time than now in Europe and the United States. And I see it with a lot of commentators who were super pro-US, super pro-Trump. Right now, they're really angry. They're Europeans, also angry. And now they're just criticizing Trump over and over. And that's because there's a lot to criticize about him. That's fine. It makes me laugh because I thought you were really pro-Trump. Or American because they're angry after he's repeatedly hit them hard. Honestly, that's why. But well, that's how he did it. And that's how he keeps doing it. I mean, that hasn't changed. Where it has changed is with China. With China. He talks to them sweetly, honestly, very gently, and says nice things to them. And that's how it is. Whether it's a foreign or American company. Let's move on to other topics because I think there's a lot to discuss, but agreements are being made, which are due to reviews. And here I told you a little while ago who was the first one I heard say it and whom I agreed with, and it was Ramon. His name is Alberto Garza. He's a journalist with many years of experience and is very involved in international affairs with strong connections in Washington and similar places. So he said it right at the beginning. What Trump wants is to negotiate with China, and he wants to join in business. He said it some time ago during a foreign review. That's right. This comment could also be said. And it's not the first time he's gotten things right. I say quest just to say it, because it's actually an analysis that goes beyond just guessing. Or American. And you could see this coming. And hey, tomorrow or the day after, they're going to be saying bad things to each other again. I mean, no, don't think it's going to be like this all the time. Nice? No. Xi Jinping is going to say some really, really strong things here about reviews. And I mean, it could suddenly occur to Xi Jinping out of nowhere to go invade Taiwan. American that, for one of... Avanzando, ¿no? Avanzando bien. Y hay nada más antes de irnos a otro tema. Chéquense esto, miren. There's a report. See if you get a chance to check it out in the Wall Street Journal. An analysis, one of those analyses, you know, those reflective editorials, but with really nice, very interesting data. Because do you understand the importance of Taiwan? All of that is thanks to, I mean, everything that's happening is because Taiwan, I insist, is American foreign. According to that report, it states that Taiwan is the key to the future of artificial intelligence. And that's where the real negotiation is going to be. If they can't reach an agreement on that issue, or American there, And the United States and China are going to clash hard again. I think they're going to negotiate, but maybe they won't. I mean, there's always the chance for a review. There will be reviews, whether by a foreigner or an American. American reviews, whether it's a foreign or American company, reviews. Foreign or American if it's an American company there, because the evolution of artificial intelligence in China is so fast that it limits them. So right now, they estimate about an 8-month delay. In other words, the United States is ahead in terms of artificial intelligence by 8 months. See, that's the global consensus about how much separation there is between American progress and Chinese progress. 8 months. That's the gap. It's not years or decades anymore like before in other areas. 8 months. I mean, for example, if the United States doesn't get its act together right now and doesn't make a lot of progress in the next 8 months, China will already be at the same level as the United States, if not higher. Why is there an 8-month limit? Is it because they're efficient or creative or something else? It's because of one thing. The United States limited the chips. I mean, they told NVIDIA that they can only sell them a few good chips, just a little bit, just a few chips. Because if you give them all the powerful chips, they'll speed up and overtake you easily. So, the United States limited that for China, and that's a negotiation that could get interesting. The argument being made right now is that the technological and strategic leap the United States has regarding the chip issue is thanks to Taiwan. In other words, without Taiwan, the United States couldn't be at the level it is now. Right now, it's considered, and that's the consensus, I insist, even among Europeans and Asians, that the level of AI in the United States is the highest. It's the top right now. In second place is China, and then it's divided among other countries like Japan and so on. Yes, but those are the top spots. And why is the United States in first place? Well, it's very simple. Because they control the ideas, the chips, and they have strong ties with Taiwan. So that's the consensus. That's the main reason. There are other reasons, like certain universities and whatever else you want, but that's the basic reason. This is so important that the State Department is involved in it. I wouldn't be surprised if intelligence agencies are involved. It's a really interesting topic. Let's move on to other important points as well. Look, pay attention to this topic as well, since we're on this subject. Donald Trump said that China bought or is going to buy 200 airplanes from them. Boeing announced this is the biggest deal, a purchase from Boeing of 200 airplanes. We're talking about billions of dollars. But that's not all. It's not just about buying airplanes. And that's it. Those airplane purchases also come with certain guarantees. What? What kind of guarantee? The guarantee is you'll buy from me for the next 40 to 50 years, since those airplanes last a long time. You're going to be buying parts from me for decades because the relationship is very strong. And that's not all. It's buying parts, it's having engineers, it's having people from the United States or from the company coming and going to China. So there's a huge relationship there. China has done well for years to have its own airplanes, to build them. I mean, they do it, but it's not perfectly established yet. And it's become more so. I mean, if one day Boeing shuts them out, well, they won't be left stranded either. They'll have airplanes, and they also build airplanes that they even sell internationally now. But to me, it's a very interesting symbol that they also buy Boeing airplanes because it's a symbol of believing in you for the future. Both sides, right? I mean, both sides saying, I trust that you won't be putting sanctions on me. And I trust that we're going to have a good relationship. That's it. That's one of the highest levels of trust there can be right now. Buying airplanes from the other country. Yes, and especially in that amount. 200 airplanes is a big purchase. Let's dive in. Reports from China say they agreed to buy 200 Boeing airplanes. According to what the President of the United States says, Sean Hannity from Fox News supposedly mentioned or shared an excerpt from this interview where he talks about this issue. Now remember, let's not forget, Well, we're in the era of truths and lies, so I'll see if this gets confirmed. That's my opinion. I've told you what I think and why it matters. If suddenly they say, oh, it was a lie, because Trump also tells a lot of lies, then we said, well, forget it. They don't trust each other, and that trust isn't as real as it seems, right? Because I think it is real up to now, because of what I told you about the S&P 500. If the S&P 500 is really high, it's because there's confidence in everything that's happening. The fact that the S&P 500 is at this level is because there's confidence that this is or will bring a lot of business. And when you hear today that they're communists, well, you tell me where that comes from. I mean, yes, they have a communist government and a lot of very negative things. Clearly, the practical reality isn't like that. The practical reality, I mean, it's one of the only ones. Countries in the world that have a Disney park. I mean, Japan, France, China, and the United States. No, where is it? Only in those 4 countries. Nowhere else. Not in England. Not in South Korea. Not in Mexico. I mean, no. Where are they? McDonald's, whatever you want. It's full of stuff from American stores, but in the United States, it's also full of Chinese stores. And in Mexico and everywhere else. So that makes you modernize. You can't go too hard against a country when you have millions of people depending on that other country. About 70% of what Walmart sells is from China. I mean, Walmart is the quintessential American company, but most of what it sells. And for those who have shopped there, it's usually a store that has everything, right? Blenders, all that stuff. Much of what's produced, where is it made? In China, like a flower pot. Made in China. I mean, it could be Malaysia, it could be Taiwan too, but a lot of it is in China. About 70% is in China. Basically, what Walmart does is buy in Asia and sell in America. That's basically what they do, right? And if they buy from you, it's at a very low price. And here, nobody wants to produce as cheaply as the Chinese, the Malaysians, and the Vietnamese. They produce extremely cheaply. Also, what are the workers' conditions like? They're pretty bad, right? They have these mentalities of absolute work and nothing but work and little well-being, unlike the Germans, right? That they leave at 4 in the afternoon, that they go to the gym, that they go for a walk, that they have hobby activities. And in these countries, well, it's just work from morning until night, then sleep, work in the morning at night, and so on. I mean, that's the new thing. That's the criticism that's always made of them. But anyway, the point is that that's where things are produced in that kind of environment, right? Well, let's just move on to another point. Before we move on to anything else, Iran is starting to allow Chinese ships, since we're talking about this, to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Well, right now they're negotiating how they're going to open the strait. Well, China already got it opened. It looks pretty bad, I can say, but China already got the strait open for them. Sorry, it's just that ever since this came to my mind, it's kind of like a double entendre. Well, anyway, this looks bad, but the strait opened for them, didn't it? Just like that. And with that, well, China is going to be moving as much oil. Now, the thing is, was the strait opened only for Iranian oil, or was it also opened for all the other countries? Because if not, if it's just for Iran, then it's going to be very limited. I mean, what benefits China is for the whole strait to be opened so they can get the oil out. From Bahrain, from Qatar, from Kuwait, from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, whatever you want. I mean, the gas, whatever it is from all those countries. So you need that. It has to be the full deal or it won't make sense. According to information released by semi-official agencies like FARS, which has been picked up by international media, they have indicated that Tehran would be using the relationship with China to try to ease the energy crisis a little bit. And not have all this pressure from the world, telling Iran to open the strait. Open the strait. And with the Europeans forming a bigger alliance of 40 countries getting closer to the area to carry out military operations. According to them, the Europeans say Europeans and Oceania, meaning Australia is also going to send troops to the region. They are coming to an agreement to conduct operations and open the Strait of Hormuz, no matter what, and with military forces there. It's already an operation. A military operation involving more than 5 countries is already considered global. Well, it's 40 countries. So this is a global war, right? I mean, in that sense, if they are already operating, right? Right now, it's still up in the air, right? Let's go to the comments. How have you all been? How are you doing? We have something pending because it wasn't really planned, but because of the information there is and the situation that's happening and all of this, we definitely need to talk about it. A very serious situation is happening in Cuba. So we're going to talk about that in a few more minutes. We're going to go live over there. I insist that it's not planned. When I began the second one, we saw things getting worse and have experienced it. We need to talk. You know, we should do a live stream about that and talk about it right away since we're already on that topic. Lo reuse. Well, maybe about the strangest, weirdest storm I've seen in recent years, in the last few years, actually. I mean, because look, sometimes a storm can cause you problems with lightning. What this storm has caused in India is extraordinary. Honestly, something strange happened that will have to be studied. But the number of people who have lost their lives due to lightning and other causes is enormous. It's really, really serious. We're going to talk about that right now, about the rebellion that's basically starting in Cuba. But first, obviously, we're going to greet the community here. Many thanks to Cynthia and Eliseo. Oh, well, I'm actually looking at the chat from the previous stream. But anyway, big greetings to them as well. Let's go to the updated chat, right? Let's do it now, shall we? Big greetings to the community that's watching us on replay as well, right? Obviously. And if you'd like to support us with a tip here on the channel, it's really appreciated. Honestly, it's an independent channel. But tips like that, honestly, are really appreciated. So, well, I really appreciate those of you who make that effort. And well, here we also make the effort every day by reporting what happens in real time. We're going to keep reacting, and trying to keep commenting on what's happening, all right? Thank you so much for being here. Hello, Eliseo. How are you? Evaristo, how are you? Francisco Arce, how's it going? He says, China was allowed to pass because of the stress. Yeah, it's just how you say it. I mean, how do you say it? Without it sounding bad, right? Without it sounding dirty, right? Greetings, says Irovechera. Congratulations, they're really good. Thank you for your comment. Big greetings. How have you been? Where are you visiting us from? Eliseo, how have you been? Great. And with Render, how have you been? He says the negotiation was very close to being closed. He sends greetings. How have you been, Alfredo? And the meeting between Mexico and the United States is coming up soon. Hopefully, yes. Hopefully it happens. That's why they keep bringing up organized crime a lot right now. And they're applying pressure over the Roche issue. So what can I say? They're characters, this Roche. So personal. There are a lot of politicians here from different parties who are just unacceptable, right? They shouldn't be politicians. There really should be some common sense within the parties to say, look, these people are unacceptable. Why do you put them in? And then the craziest thing is that you put them in and then they choose their successors as if they were kings, right? And that's how you end up with a list of politicians of lower and lower quality, right? So yes, that's really worrying. I insist it's not a party issue. It's an endemic, serious problem here in Mexico, right? Oh no? There are also figures in all parties who are not involved in this and who really do have good intentions. And I've been lucky to have good friends in all the parties, right? And honestly, I ask myself, who are the valuable ones here? I mean, who are the people you've really never seen act like that? And yes, he tells me, I mean, there are people like that, right? There are valuable people in the parties, right? We shouldn't focus only on los peorcitos, though. I mean, there are also positive things. And like everywhere, unfortunately, sometimes circumstances allow the worst ones to flourish, grow, and prosper, right? Those who have more skeletons in their closet, those who... So we have a problem there in that sense. They have prospered, many of them have prospered because of those connections to shady stuff, let's say, right? Muchísimas gracias, Diandy Quintanilla. Thank you very much. And only 30% have electricity in Cuba right now, says Yandi. That's quite a statement. And that's where we're heading. We're going to talk about what's happening in Cuba. It's really tough. It's tough. Let's discuss the details. We'll get into that, right? Let's go.